Definitely.
Just caffeine bullets.
Right, morning everybody. It's the
Oh,
14th of April. We are Signal Centre Talking Ball. I'm Joe Neighbour and I'm joined by Steve O'Hare. Good morning, Steve.
good morning.
Caught us in the middle of a bit of coffee chat there.
Yeah.
I've been fobbed off with decaf today. It's just not hitting the note, and I need to get down the shop after this.
Nah, not good.
Full
I don't think.
caffeine injection. Right, so let's get straight on with it then in terms of headlines and what's going on before we delve into the charts. So yesterday there was more concerns around the clotting caused by the Johnson & Johnson COVID vaccine. So there's been a pause to the rollout of that in the US, which is obviously another setback for the COVID-19 vaccine. And obviously that's going to further impact the delay that is already in place in Europe. So a few more obstacles to overcome. Moving on to sort of the corporate side of things, luxury goods giant LVMH, Louis Vuitton, Moët Hennessy, they set the tone yesterday for earnings season and set Europe in gear. They posted, well, blockbuster numbers by the looks of things, defying any pandemic-related gloom, which is madness, really, unless everybody's been spending their stimulus checks on Tiffany jewellery and champagne. Maybe that's where it's all
Maybe,
gone.
possibly. Good luck to them.
Yeah. Elsewhere, German software giant SAP raised the lower end of guidance and a sign that customers are starting to pick up the IT spend again. We've got UK grocer Tesco's that's reported today. I haven't seen what they've done so far. And then that sort of starts the flurry of bank earnings from the US. We've got JP Morgan Chase, Goldman Sachs, and Wells Fargo all reporting today. Elsewhere, we've got a couple of speculative corners of the market that are being watched. Obviously, we've got cryptocurrencies looking very strong and robust at the moment. Bitcoin hitting new highs yesterday ahead of the Coinbase IPO today. Talk of a valuation of $100 billion. And of course, that will positively impact Bitcoin itself. With regards to these blank check companies or these SPACs, these special purpose acquisition companies, or cash shells, as you might know them, they seem to be calling off a little bit. The biggest such deal, or the biggest deal so far, involved a Singapore-based ride-hailing company called Grab, and that got a very lackluster response in the wake of a new crackdown on the sector by the US regulators. So maybe we'll see that fizzle out a little bit over the coming weeks and months. Anything you've seen on the news, Steve, that we should be paying attention to?
Only oil markets. China's Iranian oil buying spree crushes demand for Brazil. Angola crude. OPEC raises 2021 oil demand growth forecast on hope pandemic wanes. Obviously, we still got this potential third wave, so it's sort of a case of wait and see for a lot of things. I think the UK seems to be benefiting because the vaccine rollout program is sort of like leading the way, really. Nearly 50% of the population have had at least one jab.
Yeah, and obviously we had these lockdowns as well, which we're only starting to exit, whereas a lot of our friends overseas were not as strict, were they? So
no, have we got any friends left overseas? I don't know.
I don't think so.
Feels like no one likes us anymore.
No.
Hey ho, we'll get over it. I'm sure we'll shake hands and make up over a pint of beer or Guinness.
Touch elbows, maybe, not shake hands.
Yeah. Shake hands is like you can't even think about it nowadays.
No, it's weird. You just like if you meet new people now, you just sort of go into like shake hands, and everyone's like, "Oh,
yeah,
don't touch me,"
or throw your head towards them, like sort of Glaswegian kiss. I think.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's not sort of like not. It's a weird world. It's a new world,
Definitely.
and just got to get used to it.
Yeah. So, do you want to run through some charts first up, or
yeah,
should I?
I don't mind. The one thing I was watching this morning, or have watched overnight, is oil breaking out to the upside out of this triangle formation. I think this is pretty positive. The daily chart we were talking about, a head and shoulders formation, could turn into a complex head and shoulders if this upward move dissipates. But I think if we get a break of 62.21, that's very positive for the shorter term. And then we'll sort of like start contemplating a move higher towards the 67.80 recent swing high around about this early March. So positive for oil this morning. Gold, a little bit of a sort of nothing day yesterday. We had a little bit of a higher high from the previous day, a little bit of a lower low from the previous day, but then closing where we opened, so forming a doji candle on the daily chart. As you can see from here, we've still got this potential for a double bottom formation, a clear break of 1756, and a close above that on the daily would lend me to think that we are going to try and retest the 1800 level before moving on to 18 levels around 1815, 1855 and 1875. So maybe some positivity coming out of there. Obviously the dollar index down to 91.67, so it's prompted by that. That's the main driver of this. Here's the 4-hour chart. That'll be the measured move target 1833 if we do get that double top. On the weekly chart, we can see we're still in this downward channel, which looks negative, but could be part of a bullish flag. And obviously, we've talked about this 2,500, around about 2,500 is the measured move target of that flag. So, but that's a way off yet. Don't get all panicky and rushing out and buying jewelry. So. On to the indices. We're still bubbling away in the indices, on the indices side of things. FTSE's back up, hunting that yearly high 69.60. We've touched it twice. Potential for a move up. However, the dollar index is struggling, so maybe we won't see it. Looking at the shorter term charts, it looks a little bit like it's fizzling out. Not really. It's trying to get above the 6,900 level. That seems to be a bit of a barrier at the moment, a failure to sort of push up towards there, and we could well see a little bit of a retracement back and a retest maybe of around about 68.65. Break below there, and we could see some sort of vacuum move down towards the 6,800 level. On the DAX, a little bit of a reversal over the last couple of hours. We've seen a hanging man candle posted. That's pretty negative. It engulfed the previous candle after a decent up move from 5 o'clock. It's given back all those gains as the markets open in Europe. And so we're back on the back foot this morning on DAX. Again, we're sort of in this corrective type of channel, and all a bit nothingy really, as far as I can see in Europe. Dow Jones 33,700, again not far away from the all-time highs in this fantastic bubble we're building. Little bit of support that potentially looking to break 33,545, a break of there, and that should lead to the correction lower. Otherwise, we're just going to try and grind higher. Nasdaq trading around about the 14,000 level, which is the highest it has been ever. It can't be ever, surely. Don't tell me it's all-time highs in Nasdaq. It is all-time highs in Nasdaq. 14,000. This is going to be quite a big psychological level. So I imagine we'll get a punch through it, see what stops lie the other side before reversing sheepishly and then waiting for the next impulse higher. It just seems to go on and on and on back into this channel that we broke out of. We thought there might be a reversal, and it's retesting that bottom of that channel formation, so that could be pretty interesting from that perspective. S&P's all-time highs 4,145, 48. So yeah, again, nothing seems to be stopping it. I just pulling my hair out, obviously, as you can see, as to the reasons for these this bubbling situation. But no, what can you do? Just sort of you just got to go with the flow, keep your stops tight. It's the mind boggles.
Yeah, well, earnings season upon us, so we will obviously get a decent look into what's going on in the corporate balance sheets of a lot of these companies that are driving it. So we'll see if there's any cause for concern in those. in the coming days.
Okay.
Is that everything, Steve?
Yeah, that's it. Yep.
Thank you, mate. Over to FX then. So Steve obviously alluded to it a few times there, that the dollar index is pretty crucial in what's going on at the minute. And as you can see from this daily chart, we have had a pretty reasonable correction lower in recent days from this sort of highs of 93.43, and we're in this corrective mode down to supports now that we've got at 91.60. So I've got a bit of a band of support here. You can see we've got these lows that were posted between sort of 15th to the 17th of March. We've also got a 38.2% Fibonacci level, which is this blue line, which is projected from this low here to these highs here. So this entire swing move, 38.2% was here. So we're below that at the minute, but we're into this sort of next band of support. So we need to see some buyers return here if there is to be any sort of bullishness or continuation higher in the dollar index. And if that doesn't materialize, then we may just see a grind lower towards sort of 50%, 61.8%, and then 78.6% fib levels in the short to medium term. So keeping an eye on that. I mean, if you are of the opinion that dollar index is has turned a corner and this is sort of a bottoming formation, then I guess now would be a reasonable time to think about picking some up for a speculative trade for a move up towards this kind of region, which is 94.45. We'll wait and see. Euro dollar, obviously flip side of dollar index, we have seen a push higher in the short term. So we did find some support around about this 38.2% fib level, and we've continued to grind higher. We're now coming into some resistance levels here at 119.92. And then obviously we've got the 1.2000 level, which may act as a natural resistance level as well. So we'll wait and see what happens in and around that zone. But maybe we'll start to see some selling pressure here. If you look at the volume uptick on this move higher, it hasn't been anything particularly amazing. So maybe we will see a reversal in this at some point. And what I'm maybe seeing here on a daily chart, if you squint, is potentially a top pattern taking shape. So what we could have here is a left shoulder down to here or here, with a head here, the neckline that's formed along there, and possibly a right shoulder taking shape here. So maybe we are in the process of forming a top here. A bit speculative to call it that at this stage, but I'm starting to see something that resembles that potentially, and that is in my thinking at the moment. So we'll have to wait and see. Elsewhere, cable looked quite interesting. We did have a really nice bullish channel that had formed over a number of months, going back to sort of September time. We broke down here on the 23rd of March. We saw a retest of the underside of the channel, which resulted in further selling, but some support has emerged at this 136.70 level, and we've obviously got this short-term downtrend. So maybe we're forming a bit of a wedge here, which I have sort of mentioned before on this, which didn't play out. It was sort of a bit of a narrower one, but keep an eye on this blue line here. If we start to break out through here and then above these highs from the 6th of April, then we could see a continuation higher in cable. Again, it's all down to what the dollar index does here, and I would also caution that the volumes on this sort of corrective move lower have been below average compared to where we've been over the previous months. On to the Aussie ones, because I have been sort of calling these lower, but we've seen a pretty substantial move higher today on Aussie yen. I've drawn on this potential head and shoulders top pattern, which I was looking to form, and we've seen a decent move higher today, as you can see. So that's potentially moving towards negating that pattern. If it moves above this resistance here at 84.45, then I think I have to give up on that head and shoulders pattern for now, and believe that we are going to see a continuation higher. If we look at Aussie US dollar, we had a head and shoulders pattern that actually completed here. So what we're seeing now is again another retest of this neckline on the underside. And I thought what we were forming here maybe was a bit of a flag pattern, or certainly a consolidation before a continuation lower, yet to emerge. And again, it all comes down to what the dollar index is doing. So we're waiting to see there. But we've got resistance at 76.99, so 77.00. We have to wait and see what happens there, and if we can see a break above that and a continuation higher, then maybe that will go some way to negating this potential or this top pattern, and then we'll move on and redraw the lines. Elsewhere, dollar yen is testing a very important level here for me. This is the retest of the break of this massive trend line break that goes back to 2015. We've already got a little bit of a hammer potentially forming here, just at the other side of this trend line. So I'm quite interested in that. That might be something I look at for the guns to the head. Dollar CAD still of the opinion that this could potentially break up from this wedge, but need to see it above 126.47 at the moment. It's not doing enough, so still watching on that one for now. That pretty much wraps it up for me. Anything else,
Nice
Steve?
No, not really. No, covered it quite nicely.
Lovely. Right, so let's get on to the guns ahead ideas from yesterday. More of the same, unfortunately. No real volatility yesterday, which didn't help our cause at all. I was short of Aussie yen. 19 ticks offside at 9 o'clock, or 0.63R. And Steve, you were offside on your oil trade. In fact, you were stopped out in the oil trade 40 ticks yesterday. So again, in a situation where we need to try and stop this rot and get back on side with a couple of winning trades. Is there anything you fancy this morning?
I don't know. I think sort of the dollar move lower, maybe looking for that really to continue. Only really thing I sort of think is close to decent levels. Obviously, we're not far from this 1756 level, which I think if we break above that in gold, then we should push higher. So I'm going to buy gold today. Ideally, I'd wait for maybe a pullback, but as it's gone to head, we can't do that, son. So I'm going to buy gold at 1744.64. My stop is going to be very tight, 1739.64, and my target is going to be 1764.64. A break of the 1755 level. I think we could quite easily squeeze a $10 move out of that. So yeah, going for the break of the resistance in gold.
Luck. I'm going to take a look at dollar yen for a lot of the reasons I just stated, really. So first up, dollar index, just because it's a decent starting spot. This is the daily chart. We're into this kind of support level here, where I think that if the dollar is going to make a move to the upside, we're going to see some buying emerge around this kind of level. So I'm going to take a punt on buying dollar here, and then I'm going to look at the best market to do that on. And for me this morning, it's dollar yen. Again, just going back on this daily chart, we can go back to 2015 to see this break of trend, which we've got here, and we're now seeing a retest of that level today. If we look at it on the daily chart, potentially forming a bit of a hammer candle. Obviously, a long way to go between now and the close to confirm that. But if we drill into the hourly chart, then we can see what's making up that intraday candle and potentially forming a little bit of a bottom around here. So I'm going to buy it at 108.96. I'm going to target a move up to these swing highs here at 109.73. Stop loss below the lows of the session at 108.72. Looking for just over 3R on that one. Ultimately, I think higher prices could be seen, but for the purpose of the challenge and trying to get something done before 9 o'clock tonight, that's what I'm going to go with.
Okay, mate.
Okay, so crude inventories today at 3:30. We've expected to see stockpiles fall by 735,000 from the previous week. Overnight, we've got a rate decision from the Royal Bank of New Zealand. Sorry, that was out last night, and the bank continues to toe the dovish line, which was to the detriment of New Zealand dollar, which we've seen. Well, actually, quite a lot of strength in New Zealand dollar today. And we've also got Eurozone industrial production as well today, as well as appearances from Christine Lagarde and Jay Powell. So plenty to keep us interested again, and be careful if you're trading.
Absolutely. Good luck out there, everyone.
Cool. All right, well, let's wrap it up for the day then, Steve. We'll be back tomorrow morning, and you have a great day.
Cheers.
Bye-bye.